1. We are live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Saturday morning D&D show. Sorry that we are starting so late, but it was a good excuse for charity. So
Yes,
I just got done with a charity game, so that's why we're running really late. But thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming out. I should probably tweet about this. So, Sir Lucian, I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Sir Lucian. Thank you so much for being with me
for coming
and
back.
helping. Let's... This is so awkward because it's live, but let's send out a tweet.
Yeah, I'll cover for you while you're doing that. So thanks for joining those of you that have jumped back in. If you were at the charity live stream, that looked like a really fun game. I'm sure Jordan will tell us a bunch about it. Also, if you were here earlier at the 12 p.m., we had a new show that we ran with PB Plays Inside. So I wanted to thank her for showing up. We had some really good chat interaction, some people that showed up that I think we had a pretty good show talking about how to playtest beta material for Dungeons & Dragons. So it was a really good segment. You can check that out. That'll be on YouTube. But glad everybody's here. Looks like a nice active Saturday morning on Twitch that we're doing lots of Dungeons & Dragons stuff. And
yeah,
Jordan's here with us. So
yeah. Man, that was. Were you watching the game at all? No, you were probably
a little bit. Yeah, I got on early because you started early. And then we did our show, and then right after it ended, we jumped into your back end to watch the final part there. So there's a big gap for sure that I missed, but yeah, I caught a bunch of it.
very cool. Something just dinged. Was that you or me?
I didn't hear a ding, so maybe on your side.
Okay. Well,
Could be wrong.
I think
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. Background image. Okay. All right, should be fine. So, what man, you had an exciting week of D&D because I watched a game that you were in. I caught the tail end of it just in time for some
God.
epicness.
Yeah.
What
Talk
happened
about
there?
salty too. Oh my Lord. In my brain, like on the stream, because you join somebody's stream and you're playing in somebody's game and you want everything to be fun. And so I'm smiling, I'm joking around with everybody, but in my head, I'm seething that I just died.
Yeah.
My first level character. I spent a bunch of time thinking about the backstory and agonizing over what I was going to do. And when the first combat we're in, it's like an unwinnable battle. And it's like all these things that piled up that made me a tiny bit salty after I got over it. But, you know, in the moment, you always have that little bit of, and it was like my own player, my own buddy in my party is the one that killed me with a thunder wave, and I didn't make the save. So I go down because of a party member. I miss all my death saves. I'm playing Meat Grinder mode and Adventure League, which you probably know a little bit about that now that you played. And it was just like it conspired against me to have my character died. And so I was like, oh.
So, like, and I was watching it, and your druid decided to cast an AoE spell that hit you, and is that what took you down, or was it something else? Yeah.
No, that was it.
So, like, that took you down, and I was watching this, and I'm like, what are they thinking? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I didn't want to like play somebody else's character. I didn't want to be, dude. You could step 5 feet over, man. Just step 5 feet over.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. You're kind of in the moment.
Yeah. And the DM kind of the rule was this is a cool discussion part here for this show and relevant for other people that are playing. So with Thunderwave, it is the cubed, 15-foot cube. Well, the DM thought it meant it was centered on the player that casts it.
Yeah.
But I had mentioned in the stream that no, it's actually off of the front facing of the caster, so they can put that cube anywhere on the facing of their 5-foot square that they're in.
See, and I didn't know that. Listening to it, I agreed with him, but like, you're sure about this?
And I didn't want to argue. Yeah, I didn't want to argue.
Or is it just an argument?
Yeah. So after the stream, I sent him all the documentation that showed him, and I'm just like, so that was the other thing that had me a little salty, is because I knew the rule.
Yeah.
And I just died because the two people, the player that cast the spell and the DM didn't quite know the rule, but I didn't want to be the guy on the stream arguing rules. Like, that's not how that works. I was just like, I said it once. And when he said, no, I think it's this, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to let it go. It's your game. We'll play it your way. So it was interesting. So yeah, that was a rule that I knew of. And the reason I know it is because in our Storm King's Thunder campaign, I have 3 players that have that spell. The Bard has it.
Okay. What spell was it?
So many people have it.
Thunderwave or something? Or
yeah, Thunderwave.
Okay.
Yep, Thunderwave. And they love casting it all the time. So we've run into it so often. So
crazy.
But that was good. Yeah. So as far as what we did this week in Dungeons and Dragons, from my perspective,
yeah,
Tomb of Annihilation, which was an Adventure League game, streamed on Anaris's channel. He's a great guy. He's a graphic designer, running games, sells stuff on Roll20. Really fun person.
Cool.
Nomadic from a really cool Hexes and Bows podcast. PB Plays Inside, which you know, all playing in that game. Character died, so my Hexblade is dead. So this week was dealing with that agony and then deciding on my next character concept.
Yeah, so where do you guys go from here? Are you going to just roll a new character and keep going? Is that the idea?
Yeah, we had to figure out what happens when your characters die in Adventure League, which could be a whole show on its own.
Really?
At this point, because of what you can do. I won't bog us down here for this one, but maybe in the future we'll talk about it a little bit. We should do a show on Adventure League at some point, the ins and outs and how it works. Because I think there's a lot of mystery there.
I'm learning a lot about it. So, like, spoilers, I went to Adventures League this week, because I've never gone, and I'm like, I'm gonna try it out. I'm like, go hang out with like local nerds, and nobody recognized me, so that was cool. 'Cause I'm not as popular as I think I am.
Yeah.
But continue. You're making a new character.
Yeah. So making a new character. Probably I'll let that come out on the stream. You guys see what it is. So I finally came up with my concept last night. I finished off the stats and stuff. So that'll be pretty fun. So new character. We played our Thursday night Borderlands homebrew game. This is the pre-West Marches game we've been talking about a little bit. And we've talked about West Marches in the previous shows. This was really fun. They had an encounter with Darklings. I don't know if you've seen them from... they've been around in some stuff, but they kind of had they were in Volo's guide again. Once again, they had some stats. So I saw them in there, and I really liked them. And then they kind of got deeper into what is like a spider forest, where we had a really fun impromptu chase scene. There's a battle going on. They're fighting a giant spider. So they all conglomerate on this giant spider so it doesn't take their party down. The Darkling, one of them is escaping. The wizard has his familiar try to follow it through this forest and woods. They kill it one round after the Darkling has left the map, and they're like, we all run after it and chase it. So on the spot, I had to think about, well, wait, how am I going to do this? Because we don't have a map to just start moving people and go round by round. I said, we need something else. So we just, on the fly, just came up with, we're going to do athletics checks. We're going to be crashing through the woods, running through the woods. You're chasing and finding them. And what we're going to do is we're going to do opposed checks. And if you make 3 successful checks, you catch up on him. If he beats you 3 times, he gets so far ahead you can't catch up to him. It's just, we'll just call it over.
Cool.
So I put on the cool chase music. The party went after him, and one of them, like right away, 2 of them are falling behind. They're not making the opposed rolls. But the one fighter we're going back and forth. I win 2, he wins 1. I win 1, then he wins 2, and it's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he's throwing weapons that he has on him, and he's hitting him, but it's not killing the guy. And it culminates in he finally gets him, kills him, and he goes down, and the Darkling dies. And it was like they were all at the end when the session ended. That was the thing that stuck out in their mind, was this really weird impromptu chase with music, theater of the mind, no map or anything, and they had a blast on that. So don't ever underestimate. This is what I learned as a DM this week. Don't underestimate theater of mind moments with music to back it up. It doesn't always have to be a rendered map that you're moving tactical minis on, or your miniatures. Sometimes there can be a lot of fun when you don't do that. You can build tension. You can build a climax up to a cool ending, and it's something that sits with your players quite a bit. They made it back to town. They had a successful excursion. They all felt fun. I tied in some backstory stuff, so it went really well, I thought.
That's awesome. I have.
And then go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna point in for Christmas, my friend found their Pathfinder cards, but they're chase cards. So you shuffle this deck, and then while there's a chase, it's like, and you flip over a card, and it's like, okay, you ran it, and they're for like an urban setting. So it's like you ran into a fruit cart, or you tripped on this, or like a bunch of guards block your path. Like, what do you do? And I never really thought about running chases like that, but that would be complete theater of the mind. Like you would just be like flipping cards, and people would be describing what they're doing, and that can be super memorable. So yeah.
Yeah, because you're all collaborating. That's what was happening too. Because like when he would roll a bad one, we're like, okay, describe out, what you tripped over a root, you smashed through a bush, you crashed through this, and now that person's another 50 feet ahead of you and still running, and all you see is the cloak, the black cloak that he wears, dart behind a tree and then dart down a trail and a gully and whatever, and then we roll again and we go again, and oh no, you've caught up to him and he's this has happened or that has happened. So it gives you a good storytelling moment. Building tension to a resolution is what's really cool. And then it was just a fun thing. And I think I've seen other people do chase stuff, so you can find mechanics out there if you don't want to try to come up with it on the fly. And the card thing sounds awesome. Make it a mini game, right? Make it a small little thing that can, whether it's like dice rolling, like Critical Role in session number 1, if you remember, they sat down and played a card game with 3 6-sided dice. It was Sam and Laura, and we're like, you roll 3 dice and then you can try to sleight a hand to change one of them, and you can then bid more to get another dice or whatever, and then at the end of that you have some type of cool hand. So adding tiny mini games into your game, and I think that's where I got the inspiration from, because when I saw that, it made me think, oh, we can have little mini games for different things. So like a chase scene mini game was kind of cool. So
yeah.
And then my last thing for this week in Dungeons and Dragons was the hour session just before when we normally run our Saturday morning D&D. We created a brand new show with PB, which was the standard array.
Yeah,
which
I was going to ask you about it. So you had a show this morning then?
Yeah, we did an hour-long show. The idea behind it, here's the tagline. So the show's called The Standard Array, and the tagline is, we're not going to min-max you to death. And then the theme of it, we think the content theme, which I thought was kind of a cool idea, was the standard array is meant to be in the player's handbook. Here's some numbers so you don't have to worry about the luck of the dice, or if you're point buying, you can spend hours point buying, right? You can spend a lot of time looking at that. But here's standard array so you can get started quickly. So we're thinking the show format is, we're going to provide information that helps you get started quickly in whatever we're happen to be talking about, what game. We're going to branch out to all kinds of stuff. So we thought the theme of that was pretty fun. We did a test stream last night. You were there for some of it. It was like,
I was like, another show? Test stream. What?
2 hours.
Oh, you went 2 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah, I went 2 hours. So that was my day in D&D for sure. And yours looked just as exciting, it seemed, too. So.
Yeah, well, so to back up, since my group hasn't been able to meet for the last 2 weeks, we're going to meet this Sunday, hopefully. It's all we wrote down a time tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, tomorrow. We wrote down a time and I'm like, can you guys make it here? And they're like, I guess so. And then my wife was like guilt tripping them. They're like, guys, he has a show now. If you don't play D&D, he doesn't have anything to talk about. And I was like, no, I don't want to guilt trip you guys, but it's kind of true. I don't have anything to talk about. So
right. I want you to play because you want to play.
Yeah.
I need you to play.
That's exactly it. So they were like, oh, okay, we'll come over and twist my arm kind of a thing. Not a big deal. But I've never done Adventure League, and I was thinking, I'm like, well, if I don't get to play with my actual group, maybe I'll go to my local gaming store and do Adventure League and see how that works. And it was a lot of fun. It was really different. I showed up with my PHB and a pencil and talked to the guy, and I was just like, hey, store manager guy, I'm here to play Adventure League. I don't know anything about it. And he's like, go talk to that guy over there. So I find one of the DMs, and they're all volunteers, and they're all just kind of, it's 6 o'clock. They're scarfing down food and stuff. But he was super engaging, like one of those, and supportive, I guess I should say. Really so happy you're here. We're going to find a place at the table. What kind of character do you want to play and all this other stuff? Have you played D&D? Because I'm sure they get a lot of people that don't play D&D. And I'm just like, no, I've played D&D. I know a little bit about it. And he's like, okay, you can make characters from here and here and here. And he's like, my group is at level 5. And so I was like, oh, I'll start at level 5. That sounds fun. And he's like, oh, no, you can't. The rules of Adventure League, you have to start at level 1. I'm like, oh, okay. But I would be level 1 in your level 5 campaign. And he's like, yep, so be careful. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was kind of I was not expecting that. So I started making a bard. I think I want to do College of Swords bard when I get to level 3, but right now I'm level 1. And then fortunately this other guy showed up and, he was a little frazzled. And they were just like, oh, he's running a level 1 game, so you should move over there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I like walk over to there with a level 3 and 2 other level 1s. And I felt bad because he was just kind of like, I'm a little frazzled. My computer's not working. Like, I'm really sorry, guys. And I was like, dude, just like take a breath. Like, nobody cares. Yeah. Like, we're all just fine drinking soda and hanging out right now. Like, I'm meeting new people. I'm kind of just introducing myself, saying hi, getting like a feel for everybody's like D&D backgrounds, you know? But
did you introduce yourself as Jordan where the PH is silent the whole time? And they look at you weird?
They're like, what? Like, but I can't see it, so why would you say that? No.
Why? What?
I was just like, hey, I'm Jordan. I live nearby. I've never actually been in this store, no, I've been in that store a few times, but I've never like gone to Adventure League.
Nice.
But so the guy, from my understanding, and this is where it gets a little weird with Adventure League. From my understanding, there are pre-written adventures that are specific for Adventure League. And if you are running Adventures League, Wizards of the Coast like either sells you or gifts you these PDFs. I'm not sure. Maybe the store buys them and then they mass duplicate them to give to the people. I think the other 2 tables that were running Adventure League were running those adventures. But my guy, he was so frazzled and he didn't really know what was going on that he started running Death House, which is the like level 1 precursor to Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt really bad because I'm like, oh, I've read this adventure. Like I kind of like, I know it. So he was trying to make it all mysterious and stuff. And I was playing along. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun. But, and it was fun. It was fun to sit down and play Ravenloft or Death House. We didn't finish because I think that's meant for like 3 to 4 hours. And we had maybe like 2 hours of actual gameplay at the table. But I don't get to play often, so it was kind of fun to do that. I definitely think that I would have fun DMing, and so maybe I'll like play my bard for a little while and then ask about like actually running a game at Adventure League, because that sounds like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list to volunteer at our game store to try to do that, just to see what it's like, you know, maybe run for a season. Like there's a new season coming pretty soon. Season 8, I think, is what they're... Yeah, I think the new season's 8. I think they're on season 7 now.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn about AL and what it is, the living campaign, how to do it, what it is, what are the rules.
Yeah, and so that was the other thing is I was making my character, and the one guy was helping me a little bit with like the rules. And you have to do standard array or point buy or all this other stuff. And I was like, all right. So I kind of made my character, and then the next day I went online and I started reading the Adventures League rules. And I was like, oh man, like I have to do this and I get this and I have to start with like no money and I have to do this and this and this. So then I like tweaked my character so it fits the rules, which I felt kind of bad because I'm like, I feel like somebody should sign off on this or something, but like they didn't check my character when I was playing it. So I'll just kind of shift it so that it's more correct and in line with the rules and stuff. So I
think there's a way to log it. Like there's some way that you can track the logging of it by the character name. Because the only thing you can't change up to level 5 is the character name. You can change your race midway through. Like,
oh really?
You can go to 2nd level and decide, I really want to be a dragonborn instead of being the human.
Oh, I had no idea.
You can change a bunch up until 5th level, and then you're locked in at 5th level from that point on.
Okay.
So there's a lot of rules that are interesting about not trading items between players, or how money is distributed and worked, how to track these different things. So there's a bunch to it for sure.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that especially the trading items, and I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense because you like bring your friend in hopes that he gets some magical sword and then he just gifts it to you. But they gave me it's called a DCI number, and it's like a Wizards of the Coast like identification number. And I guess the store logs the hours that you play. And I don't know if those hours turn into experience points, because again, my DM kind of forgot to hand out experience points. So I was like, do we level up? Do we do this? And he's like, I don't really know. Like, we have to go. The store's closing now. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave. So it kind of felt like, I felt like I got the short end of, like, I don't want to diss the DM. Like, he was great. He ran a fine game. But as far as like experiencing Adventures League, I don't think I really experienced Adventures League as in depth as I could have. But I'll go back next week and we'll see. Maybe I'll run the same game with the same DM and we'll finish that, or maybe something else will happen. So yeah,
and I think there's 2 reasons they run it from the Wizards of the Coast point of view. One is to provide a living campaign that ties into their stuff that's out, but allows people to take a character from one table to another and play, right? So that's a cool mechanic. But I think the second reason they do it is to help people learn the game.
Oh yeah.
So maybe you didn't quite get the experience of, I'm going to be able to move my character from one game to another, and I have an understanding of the Adventure League rules. But hopefully it was a good primer in. If you were brand new to Dungeons & Dragons, you learned about stats, you learned about combat, you learned about skill checks, you learned about role-playing. So in that aspect, you know, even when you have a DM that may not know everything, that's okay, because he's still helping out somebody learn, even if he's learning, you know.
Which the guy next to me was cool. Like, he was level 3, but he was still super brand new. Like, I think he only played in a couple of Adventure League games. Well, he was level 3, so he probably played in like 4. But but he was like rolling dice, and he's just like, what do I add again? And I'm like, oh, you like add this and this and this, and like, if you want, you have this cool spell called Hunter's Mark that'll do more damage. Like, you have to just kind of remember that. And he's like, oh, okay. But he was having a blast. So I will say there's, and I've been guilty of this as a DM too, because you kind of just don't know what to do sometimes. But you know, when your players surprise you with something that just doesn't quite fit in the rules. And the example of this is the new guy, but new players always do this because they don't know the extent of the rules. Like, they don't know what they can and can't do. And really they can do anything. It's just a matter of the DM kind of like coming up with some kind of dice roll or mechanic to make it function. But we were fighting a sentient suit of armor. Like, it had come to life and it was attacking us. And he had a spear. And the ranger, the guy that was next to me, the new guy, he was like, well, can I attack the spear? Like, I want to try and break the spear with my sword so that he can't use it to attack anymore. And like, well, you know, because I had 10 hit points and he did 7 hit points to me with one attack. So I'm just like, oh, I'm like getting out of there as fast as I can. And our poor GM was just like, you want to attack the weapon? And the guy's like, yeah, he was really excited about it. And I'm like, give it to him. Like, he's clearly excited about it. Like, say that there's an AC of 10 and it's got like, I don't know, 10 hit points. Like, let him break it if he can physically break it. But the guy was just like, okay, like, if that's what you want to do, and let him roll dice. But he never really like broke the spear, because I could see in the mind of the DM, like, he's just like, you can't attack a spear. Like, what are you doing?
Called shots.
And so
actually, you can. There's a fighter maneuver that can disarm,
right?
Which is pretty close.
Yeah,
you could almost use that kind of mechanic. But yeah, I like what you said. I think that's what I would have done. I would have made it a kind of a high AC, not too high, but because it's moving.
You know,
it's moving around, it's trying to do things. You're trying to hit something.
Your mind goes there. You're just like, oh,
but if you get it, you get that roll, you hit that 20. Heck yeah, you're gonna get it and destroy it.
So he ended up not like destroying that, and then I felt bad because he did it again, and then afterwards he turned to me, he's like, "Is that a bad idea?" And I was like, I didn't want to discourage him, and I'm just like, no, like, I think it's a really cool idea. Like, I see where your mind is going, but like, we have to. What is the DM doing, I guess, and we just kind of have to roll with how he's running this game. So
that's a good point, and that's something that people will run into.
Especially with new players. Like, veteran players, they kind of know, like, this thing has hit points, I have to make its hit points lower. But like, we fought a ghost too, and I know that like ghosts just take half damage from weapons and stuff, but you can still hurt it. So I'm attacking it, and he was just like, but my sword goes through it. Like, and he was thinking of anything. Like, he was looking on bookshelves. He's like, maybe there's like a book in here that will like, we can trap the ghost in a book.
His weapon's not going to hurt.
In his mind. And it's not hard. Like, I really feel like that innocence is so special, and you shouldn't like discourage it. Like, if he was just like, let's see if we can trap this ghost in a bottle or something, I'd be like, you know what? That's a great idea. Not that he wanted to do that. Like, he eventually was just like, I guess I'll attack the ghost. But it's those kind of mechanics, and new players are always like
same thing. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the new players at the table, we ran into an incorporeal thing, and the minute you said that, they thought, oh well, we can't attack it. But really, all it did was, like you said, half damage at that point. So you still could do some. You just weren't going to do as much. So that was very interesting. I guess it's up to the DM.
Yeah.
To somehow. What's the word? I don't even know what word I want to say, to make them understand that you're doing a little bit of damage, but not a lot.
Yeah. And our DM was saying like sword goes right through. And so, yeah, like if Jordan didn't have that player knowledge, I probably would have been right there with the guy playing the ranger going,
yeah, let's try to burn it. Let's try to, maybe there's something in the room we're supposed to be interacting with, because they're going to give us a way to, that's players go to, well, he would never put something in front of me we couldn't defeat.
Yeah.
Right? So there must be something here that we're missing. Maybe we need to do something else. Yeah. Throw salt at it or something or whatever. Because I watch Supernatural too much.
Yeah, we need to make a ring of salt, and we'll stand in the ring, and then it can't attack us. Yeah. It was, I don't know, overall, like another reason to go to Adventure League I was reading online. Like I was kind of surfing Reddit and stuff. I was just like finding information on Adventure League. This is me typing. That's why my arms are moving. Some guy was saying Adventure League is really good for finding players that you want to invite to your home game. So like you get to play with everybody, but there's not that awkward like, hey, I invited you to my table. We've played 4 sessions. In your mind, you're the DM. It's really not working out with this player. You don't really want to play with them anymore, but you don't know how to say like, go away. You know, like that social contract thing is kind of difficult. And so Adventures League is a great way of just like meeting people and being like, I like the way this guy thinks and I like the way he plays. I'm going to invite him to like a home game that I want to run. And I was like, that's actually awesome, because if I want to play D&D consistently, because my players just are busy people, I was like, I should really think about trying to run another game, and maybe I'll try to run one with some locals at my store. We'll see.
Now you're falling down the Lucian problem of running too many games, not having enough nights, and then I get the wife eye roll when I tell her about the new game I'm going to run. I'm just going to run another one on Sunday.
Just one more. And it's funny because I don't get to play that much, and I like building characters. Like I love building characters, and the character I played today, the Spore Druid, those guys were really good at building like efficient characters. Like they did one thing incredibly well, and that was pump out damage. And so they were both like I think the monk and the ranger were sub rogue. So they were doing sneak attack damage. The barbarian / paladin was just doing like epic strikes with smites and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, there's like Jordan, the Spore Turtle Druid, who's kind of like, I can do some healing. I can walk up and do like 11 points of damage. And then Andrew would do like 42 points of damage.
Yeah. The min-maxer.
Yeah, they were definitely min-maxing. And I was like, I like making characters that have a theme. And so definitely my turtle had this like, kind of like my death cleric, I guess. It was this kind of like disgusting. Actually, I kept thinking of Holly Conrad's character Strix, the like trash witch. Because I'm just like, no, he's this like gross kind of like covered in mushrooms, like spore threads kind of all that he has to like wipe away because they keep regrowing back, you know? Nice. And so all of my spells were kind of like necrotic and stuff, which didn't help us towards the end. I want to see the cosplay
on that.
Oh yeah. Should find some like Halloween turtle costume, like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and I'll just like glue mushrooms to it. That'd be awesome. But awesome. He gave us magical items, and I gave myself like a staff of summoning insects, because I'm like, again, this fits thematically, but like, was that going to help us? Not at all. And I was like, I'm not that I was playing with the wrong group of people. Like they were great, and they were great for that one shot, because Cody was really trying to be like, I want to challenge you guys, but I felt like I didn't bring my A game to that game.
Oh,
because I'm like, well, funny. My theme's really cool. Like, I don't know.
No, you got to play it up. I like it.
And then, I'll talk about that game a little bit more.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Andrew totally was like, we found a sun sword, and he's like, can you make this bigger? And he asked me, and I'm just like, I don't have anything that can make a sword bigger. Like I was looking at him, I'm just like, what? And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry, I can't make a sword bigger. Like, I don't know what he was trying to hint at. And then Cody was laughing, and he's just like, Jordan, you're supposed to like say yes. Like, that's the whole rule of improv. And I'm like, yeah, but in reality, what am I supposed to do? Like, I didn't have like enlarge, reduce or anything. Like I was trying to think of like what spell or what ability was he trying to think that I could do, but I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It looked like an interesting game, and Cody looked like he was really going all out on the voices for those ghosts you were talking to in the beginning, and Everybody had a voice, which was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty cool.
I was not planning on a voice until I saw that everybody else had a voice.
Everybody,
you
weren't going to be the one that wasn't. Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not I'm kind of bad at this.
The one that's not.
Yeah, so, and I'm not like terrible at it, but I definitely just pulled that out of nowhere.
Well, in reality, though, a couple of them are friends, though, too, right? They play with each other often, or
oh yeah, the three of them except Mike play on Saver Dice together. So they know each other.
You're coming into chemistry.
Yeah,
you're coming into chemistry. So that's always tough a little bit too. But I'm sure you were fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That was a fun game. It was kind of crazy towards the end there. It was interesting because the chat could like add stuff. They could donate money, which would then turn into healing and things like that we could use. And so
I was going to donate $10 to give you another magic item, but I was like, I'm doing my other show. I got
That would have been, yeah, that's funny. But totally like went down. Somebody gave me 1d10 healing, so I got up to like 5 hit points, and then somebody gave me a crit, so I was dead. I stood up, or I was unconscious. I stood up, I walked over to the person, used my crit to do like 33 points of fire damage. And then she turned around and smacked me, and I fell down again. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, you weren't meant to win that fight, right? And it was at the feel that you got.
Yeah, Cody kept saying, he's like, I threw CRs out the window. He's like, I don't know how you guys are going to win or lose, but like I'm throwing CRs out the window because I just want to make a tough encounter. And that's my first high level experience too as a player. So
well, yeah. What level were your character?
10.
I wasn't there in the beginning.
Yeah, we were level 10.
They were level 10s.
So
okay.
And I had a lot of spells that did necrotic damage, and I was really like kicking myself because I'm just like, well, we're fighting nothing but undead. Like I should have just made a cleric. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. So in that battle, fighting level 10s, what do you think it compared to, like, because you just recently did the level 6 battle in our one shot that we did with McLancy Waddle, and that was a level 6 battle where you guys pulled out a lot of cool abilities. How'd that feel? Comparatively?
Boy, I think the Mixie Waddle, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, McLancy Waddle.
McLancy Waddle. Like I always see it written and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, but that fight was, I don't know, you have so much stuff at like level 6, and honestly, I felt like I had too many things here at level 10 and not enough like action to do it. Like I was like, I want to do my wild shape to give myself temporary hit points, but I can't do wild shape and attack, and I can't attack and I can't. And so I was like, I really just need more actions. And I guess that's what limits you as a druid.
Yeah. That's your decision paralysis.
Like I didn't have aside from healing word, I didn't have any spells that would, that I could use as a bonus action, you know, like everything was either an action or a reaction. But the whole like spore damage thing, that was really cool. Like walking up and then being like, I do 33 points of damage, and then my spores do an extra 18 points of damage that just hits no matter what. And you can do some nice damage. Like, so there Andrew was, and I critted, but like Andrew did, like 45 points of damage in like 3 swings of his axe. Or maybe it was 2 swings of his axe, but turn around, if I critted with my flame sword plus my reaction spore damage, I was doing like 50, you know? So
nice. From a druid.
That's not bad. And you know, you're burning spell slots for that, but like, that's the whole point of having spell slots. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Do we have anyone in chat?
We have our Saturday morning show. Yeah, there's a couple. Sky Blue Misses showed up a couple times. Karza came back around. Sonic's here. Definitely some people. Haven't asked any questions too much, but they're
there we are. Fun. Oh yeah, hey Karza. Karza is a patron of mine, so he's really cool.
Nice.
In fact, I think I just sent out, if you become a patron on my Patreon, I have Forgotten Realms pins that I make. It's backwards because of the camera. Oh no. But I send those out, and it's a lot of fun. Not that I'm trying to like pimp that right now. That's
that's cool. Yeah. No, we should pimp our shows out because that's the whole reason we're here.
When's the next Standard Array?
that's the thing that we got to figure out, because it won't be a Saturday morning show, but I want to put it in so that we had something if anybody showed up at 12. But we're going to talk about it. It might be a Friday night thing. Might be, we might look around. We're going to try to see where we can fit it in with her and my schedule. Because obviously I'm playing on Monday nights. I'm DMing on Monday nights, playing on Tuesday nights, DMing on Thursday nights, fighter practice on Wednesday nights, Saturday morning D&D show. I'm running out of slots.
Yeah, you are.
Jordan.
For sure.
Running out of slots. So that's cool.
Yeah. Is it Blake or Bleak? Asks a good question. He's about to visit Neverwinter, and he's never run a city. Any tips? I would say that instead of, you can buy like a book on Neverwinter, and you can do a bunch of cool Neverwinter stuff. Because there's a great 4th edition book about Neverwinter that just has like, cities and maps and things like that. But what I really like doing in cities is because your players are like new to a city, they kind of get lost in it. And there's a really great book called Vornheim that is setting and system neutral about creating cities. And it has a lot of really cool abilities where you roll dice, you get a number like say 432, and then you draw the numbers 432 and you put lines intersecting them, and you've suddenly made a street, and you've made like a city, and you start putting little boxes in, like here's a town, or here's not a town, but here's a building and here's a shop. So I'd really recommend Vornheim. Yeah. Questing Beast. Vornheim is amazing. That's Questing Beast. That is where I got Vornheim, is you did a video on it, and I'm like, this book looks awesome. And I picked it up because of that. So.
And I think that's the style of adventure that takes a little bit more prep than maybe some of the other ones, just because your players can ask to go to a shop or a tavern or a different place, and all of a sudden you have to populate those things. So having some cool lists, like if you have Xanathar's Guide to Everything and it has names in the back, but maybe have some lists to the side that are some tavern names, maybe some lists of the blacksmiths and the shopkeepers and those kinds of things, so that you're not stumbling. Because I think we as GMs and DMs stumble when we have to do the improvise. So if we have little things that help get us past those things, we can really focus on story, and then focus on, intrigue, and focus on what the players, find out what your players want to do too. That's the big thing to keep in mind.
Because there's a lot to do in a city. Advice, I've got a list of, and if I can find it, I've printed it out. I'll see if I can find the PDF, and I'll put it in the doobly-doo below when I put this on YouTube. But it's just a list of shops. And so like if you go to the leather person, it's got, here's all the stuff the leather guy sells. And if you go to the magic shop, here's all the stuff the magic shop sells. And my players love that. And there's been a couple times where they're in town and they're just like, can I see that book? And I'm like, sure. And they just kind of flip through it and they're like, yes, I want to spend 600 gold on this potion of healing, or I want to spend 400 gold on this shield, or I want to do this and this and this. And it makes shops really easy for me. So.
Yeah, and know your pacing. Know when to role play a scene out. That is a shopping thing, or I'm going to see an NPC thing. And know when to say, oh, you just want to get an extra sword? Sure, it was this much. You went to that shop you'd been to before, and move on. So that, be aware of when you want to RP certain things that kind of tie into your storyline.
If they want like a +1 magic sword, be like, they have to go on some crazy quest to come back to the shop to be able to like put the magical ingredients into their sword or something. Like that's a good role play session. But
name generators are huge, I think, because that's the one thing I'll always like. They'll say, and what's this person's name and description? And I'll be like, Joe, the guard. And he's whatever.
That's why I like Xanathar's. Xanathar's has those names in it. I use that so much as a DM.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Right next to me. So that's a good question. This is going to be a nice long episode. I keep telling Jordan that we've got a 30-minute Saturday morning show. This one's all messed up. Not messed up, in a good way, not a bad way, because of the charity stream and moving on, and it's going to be long and everything. But we have so much to talk about that we got to do some more shows, or we got to do some more time in there, because we could just really talking about Adventure League, talking about how we run our games, talking about how we prep, and all that stuff. We want to share that with everybody. We want to hear your tips and pointers and chat. And good. That's what this show's for.
And I guess we're kind of coming to the end of this, but like I wanted to talk about one last thing, like playing the game. I keep moving my headphones because I can't hear myself talk. Playing the game this morning and in Adventures League, I'm starting to think that I like DMing more than I like playing. Like I like playing, but like as a DM, I'm just more invested in what's happening. And there's never that downtime where it's like, okay, now it's Jordan's turn and he finishes. But like when you're DMing, you're like, now it's Lucian's turn. Now it's Abby's turn. Now it's, Jacob's turn. And you're kind of like constantly thinking and moving about the scenario. Like Cody today was just so amped as a DM. I've never seen him DM before, but he was just like, he was so like excited about it. And I'm like, that's how I get when I DM. Like, I just get so excited about like what's happening. And like, can you squeeze out 25 points of damage to like take this guy down? Oh, like, oh, you can't. Okay, moving on. He's going to attack you like this. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think I might enjoy DMing more. Pace.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think I'm there too, because also you get to say the narrative a lot. So when something swings a sword or something does something, you get to describe a lot more of that than the player does. The player sometimes gets that, but they get like a quarter of the amount the GM gets to say what's happening. The room looks like this. The wind is doing this. The storm, the boat is rocking, whatever. And then when my player comes up, I'm like, okay, I attack, I throw my spell, and I'm done. I don't get as much narrative opportunity to throw out stuff out there.
Yeah.
So I could see how that is for sure.
Oh yeah. Like I was just jealous today watching him. I'm like, oh man, he's having so much fun. And like I had a great time, but yeah. And then that bittersweet when you finally like go unconscious and I'm just like, well, death saving throw. This is fun. I have to remind myself that the game is fun. I mean, just like when your character died, you had the same thing where you're like, well, I'm making death saving throws. I guess this is fun. It is
totally my fake smile the whole rest of that stream as I had died. And I'm like, I'm trying not to like get mad on camera. And it's not even, it's just at the situation because you don't want your character to die. You're just like, no.
I don't know what made me tune in. I think I was just on Twitch surfing and I'm like, oh, Sir Lucian's game. That's cool. Or I was on Twitter and I saw you tweeting about it. And I'm like, oh, it's Sir Lucian's game. I'll like watch it for a little bit. And I tune in just as he cast that spell and you died. And I was like, oh no. And then PB shows up and she's like, I'm here. No, I'm not. Like just
2 arrows dead. 2 characters dead. First encounter of the campaign.
Oh, it's crazy. That was so crazy.
Death saves died. Yeah. So it'll be fun. Yeah, we love playing. I love GM. Do you get that feeling like when you were playing the Sunday games that you were like, I want to be running it more than I want to be playing it?
Yeah.
You were even there because you weren't getting enough to do?
Like, and I was wondering if it was because it's an online game and I had never done an online game. So I was wondering this about myself. But playing Adventures League was kind of the same thing. I was like, no, I think I just like running it more. But not that, and I guess I'm making it sound like I hate playing. Like that is not the case at all. But, and I definitely also don't want to run every single D&D game. Like I like running my one, maybe I'll add another one. We'll see. Cause it's just a lot of work, outside of the game to prep for everything. And I shouldn't say it's a lot of work. There are DMs out there that make it look really easy, but I put a lot of work into it and making tables and stuff. So speaking of that, I
want to reserve a seat at the next game you create.
Okay. No, I want to try and do. I'm learning Roll20, and you were saying that I should stream my learning curve of Roll20 and be like, I don't know how to use this. Let's see if we can figure it out together. But because playing in Roll20 is one thing, but like Cody was making macros and he was doing all kind of crazy stuff. So yeah,
I thought it was funny that he struggled a little bit because, like he had said, he'd been doing more fantasy ground lately.
Yeah.
But I found him, or he's more known for being the guy that does Roll20 tutorials.
Yeah. And so they were giving him all kinds of crap this morning because of that.
Was so good.
Too funny.
So it was definitely fun. So it was a cool stream. It sounds like we had a great week of D&D, the both of us, really.
Yeah.
It was just really good stuff.
It was a lot of fun. I'm just amped right now because of that game. So like, I'm like, let's do the Saturday morning D&D show. All right.
Yeah, let's run a game. Everybody start rolling characters in chat.
Oh man, that'd be epic. Yeah. Okay, well, should we bring this to a close, or do you want to talk about some other things?
No, I hate to do it. I don't want to, but we probably should.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Again, this will be uploaded on Monday to my YouTube channel. And thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out and just listening to us ramble about D&D. I hope you're all having a great day, and I hope that you all get to play some D&D in the next week. And if you don't, I want to encourage you to go to Adventures League. Maybe you can come back in the chat next Sunday or Saturday and tell us all about your experience at Adventures League too. So I'm going to go again It's on Thursday for me, so I'm going to go again. I think that'll be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys. And check us both out on both Jordan's YouTube and streaming now on YouTube, and I'm on YouTube and streaming on Twitch. We've got lots of stuff going on, and we're glad that you're here. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Oh, sorry, Johnny.